Dinner at the lounge. 10 guests have settled in by the end of the day. 10! Wow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Dang, they're all here. Most of them are here. The hitchhiking couple, they had been backpacking through the Eastern Europe before being pulled into the hotel. Who would stay for a day or two before proceeding with their journey? A duo, blue-collar workers from South America, who seem to have stumbled on a roadblock on their work trip and are now waiting a few days for supplies to arrive. Well, I guess we really do house those who are in need. A gang of college-age students from Middle East whose car broke down in the middle of nowhere, being pulled into hotels spared them from a night shivering in the cold. And Coda, that very proper dragon. Oh, he disappeared. Coda's demeanor in the kitchen is prim and professional, as anywhere else. Before he begins, he walks from the table to table, introducing himself as a server and giving a polite half-brow when he departs. At moments like this, the strength of his reliance upon rigid social norms is made clear. He treats the lounge like a restaurant, asking if the guests have food allergies and trying to adjust things accordingly so as to satisfy the greatest number of people with a single meal. No, they're not gonna order? You're just gonna give? Okay. Hopefully they're not charged. The blue dragon also feels the need to run his choice by you in Asterion before he gets cooking. It looks like miso soup is what's on the menu. With the grace of the mountain stream, metaphors slip by me, guys. Coda gathers his ingredients and sets to work. Focused and precise, he starts on the stock first, placing a few items in the pot and letting their flavor leach into the water. You can make out seaweed of some sort going in first, as the water heats up above a medium flame, but is strained out just before the liquid comes to a boil. Once the broth starts roiling, okay, he adds some kind of flaky material, whose nature is harder to discern, but when the scent of the fish begins to perfume the air, you feel you've got a good idea what it is. Reducing the heat and removing what remains of the fish flakes, he throws in a couple of key additions. I don't know what got into me, guys. A finely chopped green onion, shredded carrot, and small cubes of tofu. I want some. Stop looking at me, Coda. I want some. You're taunting me. To finish, Coda squeezes a glob of off-white paste into the ladle and mixes it until it's dissolved. The whole process takes about 20 minutes, but the dragon pulls it off with flying colors, quickly summoning a set of lacquer bowls and chopsticks with which to serve the soup. You watch them from a table a few meters away from the bar. Tonight's meal is simple. For such a large hotel, it would have deemed underwhelming, but with everyone huddled together, it's like being in a polite family dinner, where no relative makes a fool of himself. Even once the soup is done, and everyone has been served, Coda doesn't seem to be content to relax. No sooner does the last guest take their lacquer bowl than the dragon heads back to the kitchen to make more. When you press him for details, he mentions that the miso soup is often considered a side dish rather than a standalone meal in Japanese cuisine, and is usually served with at least three other food in a bowl of rice. However, most of the other dishes are simple to make and soon join the soup on the table. brown rice, cucumber, salad, grilled mackerel, and fried chicken. Likewise, the rice is the only thing left plain. The salad is garnished with sesame seeds and homemade vinaigrette, soy sauce vinaigrette. Okay. The mackerel is accompanied by shredded daikon, daikon radish. I don't cook, guys, so I don't know what I'm talking about. And even the chicken has freshly made tartar. We're making words up. Freshly tartar, sauce drizzled on. I should have had breakfast. Koda appears to have made a veritable feast, though, as he asserts with a humble bow, that this is all he could do with an hour's prep time. You tell him that it's more than enough. The guests seem to be wholeheartedly happy with the spread before them, but things hit a snag once all the food is on the table. Koda can look on in a mounting disapproval at the apparent lack of table manners, and his wide smile soon becomes strained in the same manner it did when Luke butted heads earlier. More than a few guests struggle with the use of chopsticks, and the dragon is more than happy to give his wayward charges a helping hand. Though he does not stop his lessons in proper etiquette even once they have all grasped the basics. Even Asterion frustrates Koda in this manner. However, innocently, the dragon lets out a sigh upon seeing that the Minotaur's hands lack the dexterity to use chopsticks, and continues buzzing about the dining room to lecture the less hopeless cases undeterred. Oh, it's this guy. I don't know. He looks like he's like 5'6" or 6 foot. I think the dragon's like 7 foot something, right? Okay. When he comes to Greta's table, Ismail, Ismail, the worst of it, for teaching others wrong. He attempts to imitate Japanese culture. His attempts to imitate Japanese culture are all based on anime that he's seen, and as a result, it backfires spectacularly when faced with the dragon's scrutiny. Sir, please, do not bring the rice so close to your face. The bowl is to be held in front of your chest. To catch the rice from falls in from your mouth. To catch the rice which falls from your mouth. To do otherwise would be most unbecoming. No, not like that. 4 fingers support the underside of the bowl, while the thumb rests on the side. Your other hand is for the chopsticks. It is acceptable to slurp your soup, but please do not belch in the others' diners' faces. When the Frenchman reaches for the soy sauce and brings it to your rice, Koda can only point an accusatory hand at him and whispers, "Don't you dare," before he departs and begins to collect dishes from the speedier eaters. Happy Dragon. Despite the formal atmosphere conveyed by Koda's meticulous decoration, the guests speak with a hushed excitement. They move the restaurant tables and chairs around to accommodate for more larger groups if necessary, and sitting beside whoever they mesh with is best. Laughter skitters around, whispers and chit-chat hum and drown out the kitchen's noise. They exchange stories of their travels and how they found themselves here in the first place, but every few minutes you hear the whispers, the Minotaur and the dragon and the griffin. Some guests were more apprehensive than others when they arrived. Seeing a Minotaur as a receptionist was a shock, but Asterion revealed a charisma and levity that captivated their curiosity. At a glance, he knew how to best address each guest. Some required reassurance, others did not think twice before stepping in and asking for a room. At times, he even joked around about his bullish appearance to break the ice. In turn, the guests' indiscreet glances and hushed whispers didn't even make Asterion flinch. It was as if he did not notice them at all. But now, over dinner, the guests talk amongst themselves. It does not cross their mind how peculiar it is. It is that they all speak the same language in this hotel in the middle of nowhere. Though a number of them approach to offer you a word of thanks, the guests' high spirits are compliment enough, a testament to your hard work in refurbishing the hotel with Asterion. And yet, from just out of sight, you hear the clanging of washing dishes. So far, the Minotaur has spent the entire dinner hidden away in the kitchen. You still remember his laughter from this morning. Asterion hadn't been this lively ever before. Meeting the guests was more joyful occasion than leaving the cold room by far. You can't abide him by hiding away in the back rooms while everyone's having fun. And so you make your way to the kitchen. Since Asterion has been cooking your meals for the last few days, you had no reason to return to the kitchen since you first arrived to the hotel. Tonight you find it looks nothing like what you first encountered. The silence, horrible stench, strewn utensils, stains of food that had discomposed decades ago, and of course, the revolver sitting on the counter have all been replaced. Now clean, stainless steel equipment, the sounds of whta washing dishes, and the scent of delicious food he had cooked filled the room. Must be the hearth's handiwork, you think to yourself, but would the hearth alone be enough? Have brought all these people together? You rejoice in the small moment of pride, seeing and smelling what you've achieved. The Minotaur and the manager are chatting while cleaning the dishes. They don't hear your approaching footsteps. whta veers on a short rant about what happened earlier in the morning, but Asterion changes the subject before picking up a pile of clean dishes. On the way to the cupboard, he briefly passes the door to the cold room. He freezes, shudders, and lets out a nervous cough. After stashing the dishes, Asterion turns around, and only then does he notice your presence. Asterion? Yes? Would you like to spend a few minutes with the guests? You've been here all night. Oh, you should not worry about me. It is fine, the guest's comfort comes first. What about your comfort? This is my duty after all. But everyone's had their meals already. They are just chatting now. You could sit back and enjoy the company for a while. The Minotaur paces around, over your shoulder, getting a glimpse of all the commotion in the other room. His lower lip trembles, his nostrils flare with an exhale, and his intact ear twitches as if electrified. I am fine here. Mr. whta is still working and I cannot leave him. whta huffs at the remark. I see. In that case, excuse me, whta. Do you mind if I steal your Asterion from you for a few minutes? I am almost done here. Almost finished here. And we aren't getting any more orders. Go on, Asterion. Have fun. Are you sure? I can stay a while longer. It's no trouble at all. It will not be necessary. Come on. I'm not giving up on this one. We both know you want to go out and meet them. Don't make me order you around. That will not be necessary. I will obey, whatever is your will. Still, could I be allowed a few minutes to have dinner first? You both walk away from whta and leave him to his task. You haven't eaten? It would be best if you brought food to the front. It would be best if you brought food to the table with you to eat with the others. It would, if we lose any more time, we'll just go to their rooms. Very well. Excellent. Dinner it is. Now, what do you have to say? What do you say we take it one step further and have a drink? It's a special night. The hotel's reopening. Let's not mince words. Wouldn't you say the occasion calls for some wine? Before you finish, he's already picking up a pair of glasses. Oh, I was like, reading glasses? Yes. Oh. Yes. A drink now would calm my nerves a great deal. That'd be good. You seem pretty tense. Is something wrong? No, I will be fine, master. Let's go. With food and drink in hand, the two of you return to the lounge. Heads turn to your direction, and chatter dies down in Asterion's presence, makes the guests lose their train of thought. Bleh. The two of you take your seats at the end of the table. Oh, it's a long table, huh? Okay. I thought it was like short tables. Is it? Yeah, it looks like short tables. Oh, I got close enough to be inviting to the hitch. Oh, hold on. The two of you take your seats at the end of the table, close enough to be inviting the hitchhiking couple, but not close enough to force them to talk. The Minotaurs waste no time in pouring a bountiful glass of wine, first for you, then himself. Cheers to the hotel. To our most what is this word? To our most magnanimous lord. To our handiworking, unrelenting keeper. To Emperor Lucian, may his reign be everlasting. Now you were just having fun. I might. Is that something Master disapproves of? I know I allow fun. I wouldn't be going along with it if I did. Asterion downs his wine. His Adam's apple bobs with each of his gulps until his glass only has a transparent film of purple. He takes a good look at it and swishes the final drop of wine before refilling it. Am I not overstepping boundaries? Today has been such a lovely day, but I admit I've been forgetting my place. You don't have to be so formal, it's fine. What's wrong with cracking a joke? Perhaps there is nothing harmful, but some would say breaking hierarchy is always reprehensible. It is not often I have allowed myself to speak in such a manner with a master. The Lord and I did not have to interact much. Really? With you and I sharing the same living space, I expect it to be quite the close relationship. Ever since the hotel was established, the arrival of the new master was a very professional situation. No one had to help me in the way you did. In fact, we used to have quite a pompous ceremony. It was more about becoming the hotel's lord than it was about becoming my sir. I sat by the sidelines. Assuming it all went well, and the master had a merciful inclination, I would settle quietly, I don't know what this word is. I hate quietly, I hate them, under his command. And after all was said and done, they didn't need nor want me for company. I am a servant after all. The less they noticed me, the better. It meant I was doing my job well. So, we didn't often exchange more than a few words per day. But it would seem the word and its people have changed much over these days, last few decades. That's right, we have a lot of new technology, and maybe the people have changed as well. I didn't tell you about the internet, did I? I'm afraid you didn't. At least, I don't recognize the name. The internet is one of the most life-changing technologies from the 20th century. It is really impressive when you think about it. You are familiar with the radio, right? Yes. Getting it to work was a challenge, but it was worth it. All the songs. With a radio, you can listen to what people are sending from a distance. The internet is like that, but much more powerful. You can connect a machine to it, and it allows you to receive and send info. Isn't that great? What do you mean by information? Well, knowledge, for example. You can send and receive messages in seconds. It's so fast. It'd take weeks for a letter to arrive at its destination, but with the internet, it takes seconds. But it can do much else. It can do so much else. Sorry. Whoa. You can get books, see images, listen to songs, and even watch movies in seconds. You had to wait for books to arrive at the hotel, right? With the internet, you can just pick one up. You pick one that you want and start reading it on your machine in seconds. And unlike the radio, you can make your own stuff and send it to the web for other people to enjoy as well. Nowadays, we have what we call 3D printers. Oh my god, when was this made? When was this made? You can, let's say, find the information for a bracelet and print it out on the machine. Can you? Hell, entire new disciplines, even arisen due to the internet and computers. And you know how the radio works, more or less? Someone sends a transmission that one or more people can pick up, right? Asterion nods. Well, the internet is a more complicated. You enter an IP, which is kind of like a radio frequency of station that you tune into, and this connects you to a server, which is a little different, or to a server, which is a different computer in a different part of the world. And this computer can contain a web page or service that lets you do stuff like browse internet content, download files, send or receive messages. So aside from radio operator and guy on microphone, there's a whole lot of jobs involving the internet. From people that lay down the physical connections to the internet service providers that maintain servers, to people that create the programs necessary to whoa, I'm doing that too much. Okay, to browse the internet, and the people that make the web pages for you to access content. The people that make content for those web pages, data scientists, I think you're explaining too much. Data scientists that measure the statistics on who is visiting what and which time to better sell advertisement information. There's even interdisciplinary people whose job it is to design web pages to look prettier and attract more customers, and lawyers to make sure web pages comply with copyright laws. It's revolutionized the job market and how people work. Hell, people find jobs over the internet more often than not at this point. Are you following? Oh, sorry. I think I went a little too fast, didn't I? I'm a bit passionate about it. No, well, I don't understand a lot of it, but you are very passionate about it. I can see that. The internet does sound exciting, my lord, but how do we bring it here? How does it work? Good question. You mentioned the hotel used to get radio signals, right? How is that accomplished back then? If you can get a radio signal here, you can surely find a way to connect to the internet. Oh, that? It was a challenging, although straightforward affair. We repurposed an old piece of equipment. It's an old thing dating back to the realm, to back when the realm was created. The masters used it to communicate to the outside world. Before radio, it was to send and receive letters. What? Before radio, it was used to send and receive letters. And before that, it was a dock of sorts. We have repurposed it for a number of tasks over the centuries. Oh, that's interesting. What's the machinery like? How does it work? Um, it's not a machine. It's more of a thing the gods left behind, perhaps not realizing how extensively it could be repurposed. If this internet is anything like the radio, I am hopeful it can be done. Just a few feet from you. Oh, just few feet from you. The Middle Eastern lads burst out into laughter. One of them shrinks back, ashamed. It would seem that there is some sort of joke among them. Whta makes an appearance. His large body flows around the table and refills the glasses and gathers up an empty plates with a servile bow and smile. No. Who broke glass? Conversation dies when the dragon goes, and then resumes in hushed, excited murmuring, at least until his hand slips in Coda, and the glass falls on the floor. Coda, you're supposed to be the good one. The horrified expression on his flushing face cuts attention like a knife, and then the guests laugh and smile and wave away the dragon's embarrassed apologies with an open, easy warmth. Both you and Asterion can feel amidst the bustle that fills the lounge, that mixture of heavy melancholy on light, flustering hope, swelling in your chest. Only now do you realize how silent the hotel had been so far. No footsteps breaking the hallway's monotony, no voices to bring new thoughts, skittering around to one's mind. The hotel's stagnant air made both of you lethargic. And tonight, after 80 years of silence, that beast is vanquished. You look to Asterion, your newfound partner in crime, and his eye brims with the very same emotion. Wait, are his eyes red? Or brown? I don't know. The voices, the raucous laughter, and broken glass, the occasional look cast over at the Minotaur and at you. It is like a liberation. You slouch in your seat, uplifting down the current of the self-satisfaction, while Asterion downs another glass of wine. Perhaps your smile makes you approachable. Over the next 10 minutes, two guests make their way over to you, ask a few questions, and thank you for their hospitality. The same cannot be said for Asterion. As joyful as he may be, no one spares him a word, although you do catch a number of sideways glances aimed at in his general location. You try to integrate the Minotaur into a conversation, but you're met with the same walls time and time again. First, Asterion no longer displays the eloquence from earlier, and second, the guests cannot contain their stuttering around him. You scoot to the Minotaur when attention turns away from both of you. Sorry, this is too much for you? If you don't want to stay, it's fine. Oh no, I'm enjoying it here. I really am. Asterion... Oh. Everyone's so lively. I miss this. It is just that... so many voices at once. It is a tad confusing. It's easy when I'm talking only with you, but it's been a long while since I've been around so many people. I'm sorry. Don't be sorry. None of this is your fault. Do you want to leave? The Minotaur swirls the wine in his cup, more as a distraction than in any attempt to draw out its aroma. He downs it. Just drink the whole bottle, dude. He downs it, leans back in his chair, and enjoys the spreading warmth from his chest to his extremities. Well, no, I just need a while to get used to it. Asterion gazes at his wine glass. It's tinted purple from the last remaining drops. The Minotaur lets out a cough, clearing his throat from the burning sensation. When he looks back, he needs a second to focus on you. He moves with a languid deliberation, delighting in how tipsy he's getting. The Minotaur's relaxation, however, raises a tense silence. His eyes, drowsy as they may be, betray in an intense purpose. Ooh. Purpose. What is Asterion thinking? The two of you remain in silence, alone in your thoughts, but not lonely. His ears flicker once, twice. They strain to drown out everything else. Okay. The laughter, the chatter, the dragging chairs, the clinking of cutlery, and they focus on you. On your breathing and whatever words you might say next. He appraises your every feature, but latches onto your eyes. Your eyes, for a moment, it's as if he's trying to gaze at your soul. But a smile breaks his languid on his focus. He giggles and looks away. I like seeing happy Asterion is a better Asterion. Is something the matter? The silliest thought overtook me. Have you ever looked at someone, a person you know, and quite by surprise found yourself seeing them for the first time? What a precious thing. For a moment there, it felt as if I only had just met you. And yet, you were so familiar, Lucian. Maybe you were confusing me with a guest from a long time ago. No, that's not it, I'm sure of it. I can't place my finger, perhaps not a guest, no. Surely not a master. Oh, this old mind of mine. Where is this coming from? This... I was trying to point it out, what it is about you that's making... I thought it could be your eyes, but... No, it isn't. The way you look? No. But now I just... Have you ever felt as if hummingbirds tickling at the back of your skull? That's what I'm feeling. But now I'm just looking back, thinking of a friend here and there. Isn't it sweet to taste the old memories? I'm sorry, I don't know where I'm going with this, but remembering all my old friends, it makes me feel as if they're all here again. It's just you and me, but I feel maybe I should be thankful for... The conversation around you wanes and dies down. That is until both of you notice a chair being dragged close to you in Asterion. Oh, hello. Sorry if I'm interrupting anything. My name is Greta. I'm from Germany, and I'm very curious. I'm grateful for everything really. My boyfriend and I hadn't had a shower in a few days, let alone a good meal. The smell was becoming an issue. But you see, in a single day I learned that there's such a thing as a Minotaur, and also a talking dragon in a desert. This woman. We were in Eastern Europe, and now we're in a desert. Wait, what? Wait, so it just finds them? That's a lot to take in. And let me say, I've always been a curious girl. So, if you don't mind me asking, how does this whole thing work? Non-human beings, I mean. Oh, we exist. Beings which aren't quite human. Here and there pop up, but they keep themselves hidden. Not in the case here, where the charms don't work. Their true shape is revealed. There. You talk as if you're different from them. In a way, yes. The Minotaur looks to his empty glass, then turns his gaze towards you. Would you like some more wine? No, I'm fine. This is a good one. I'm enjoying every sip. Greta fidgets as Asterion pours himself a tall glass of wine. What is your story then? Are you different from the others? Asterion keeps his gaze on the glass. but responds without missing a beat, and with a peculiar cold intonation. I was born here, in this hotel. I choose to stay behind and care for it. But as you can see, things are not going well. Asterion gives you a quick glance, as if asking for your permission to proceed. You remain quiet, and he takes that as his cue. I was recovering from a few grave injuries, and meanwhile, the hotel fell into disrepair because the previous owner neglected it. But things have changed for the better ever since ownership passed for Master Lucian. Greta looks up and down, with a gaze so sharp it almost seems threatening. Why do you call him Master? What's up with that? Asterion doesn't hesitate this time. That is how my family has always called the owner of the establishment. Our lineage has served them for a number of generations. That's why I choose to be here. That is my calling. I am eager to see the hotel once more and bustling with life like it used to be. So are you a butler? Asterion nods, not bothering to look up from his wine. Have you ever thought about finding a job elsewhere? Asterion sways his head from side to side. And having kids, do you plan to meeting a lady Minotaur and having babies? I mean, that's how it works for you, I presume. A man and a lady Minotaur? You aren't the son of a cow and a human, are you? My parents were Minotaurs. Oh, that's good to hear. How squicky would the alternative be, yes? What does squicky mean? Now about my other question. What about having kids yourself? Little baby moos must be so cute. Asterion doesn't bother responding. He only looks up at her in between his sips. Greta bites her lip and fidgets on her seat. I'm sorry if I'm being invasive. It's just... this is all new to me. To us, I suppose. Do these questions bother you? It is only now and then Asterion looks at you. His gaze holds on for a second too. Long. Oh, okay. His smile, you see, has a tinge of fakeness. I am used to him. Is there anything else you would like to know? About your eye. Do you need a medical help? My boyfriend is a doctor. We are talking about... oh my gosh. We were talking earlier this afternoon about it. Look, we know there's more going around than it looks. Magic or whatever you'd call it, but... is there anything a medic can do to help? You are very kind, but I'm afraid a doctor would not be able to do much for me. I'm not exactly... things function differently for me. But you don't have to worry, I'm well. It won't be long before I'm healed again. Oh, so you can grow your eye back. That's incredible. You know, it'd be great to study how you do that. Surely modern medicine would stand to gain from. I'm sorry, I guess that was too far. Pardon the curiosity, but where are you from? I'm from East Berlin. Berlin? Okay. I grew up not too far from where the wall stood, but I was born a few years after as well, after it fell. My boyfriend is from Dijon, France, from the place where all the colorful mustards come from. I see. And what is East Berlin like? Berlin? It's pretty good nowadays. Of course, there is still a bit of a gap. It will take a while before East and West are truly equal. But it's charming in a way. Everywhere you'll see the little Soviet stick figures on the traffic signs. It's so cute. And the nightlife, of course, fantastic. It's Berlin after all. At the mention of East Berlin and the Soviets, Asterion's eye flicks over to you for a fraction of a second. Then it jumps over to the other people around the table as he realizes they're growing silent and directing their attention towards him. But we won't stay in Berlin for long. My boyfriend and I have wanted to live in England for years now, and we are trying to make that work. And we always wanted to backpack across Europe, so we figured out now was a good moment. My twin sisters all did it, and I've been hearing for years how fun it is. This woman is obnoxious. Just non-stop talking. So here we are. Now that Greta has broken the ice, people are looking, and Asterion grows stiff at the realization. He stares back at all the guests, and pairs of eyes fixed on the inhuman features that are now noticing how stiff he's become. He's breathing, hitches, and he freezes as despair sinks in his stomach. When the Minotaur musters enough wherewithal to move again, it is as though his limbs are made of lead. Oppressed by the awful weight of the guest's collective stare, he can only twitch and tremble, raising his arms for mere centimeters at a time. Oh, okay, she's getting frayed. The trembles propagate like ripples across the surface of a pond, from his fingers to his arms, then his stomach, and finally sinking like claws in his chest. Everywhere the pitiless tide sweeps. The Minotaur's consciousness seems to trail behind like a swimmer following the wake of a boat that had been thrown him overboard. The bull's hand lingers at his stomach, which heaves beneath his touch like the sea of a storm. He clutches it as though nursing a bruise, like he had been punched square in the gut, and is now trying not to vomit. He retches a few times, gasping for air, and a few members of the assembled crowd back away to steer clear from the perceived splash zone. Among the students, one starts fishing for her purse for a nausea medication, but is quieted by another of her peers. Her gestures by the Minotaur's body, shaking like a leaf in a gale and sweating bullets like he'd run a marathon through the desert around the hotel. Anyone can see that nausea is only one symptom of a larger issue at play with Asterion's well-being, and throwing pills at the problem isn't going to help. But even so, one of the burlier Uruguayans volunteers to help restrain the bull if he should need to be medicated of his will. By the time the tension peaks, the Minotaur stands. The Minotaur's hands have been reach his chest. The thick black nails that dot his fingertips, digging furrows in the flesh surrounding his sternum. His lips move, but his lungs aren't cooperating, as though each eye upon him were an invisible hand wrapping around his throat. He can only give strangled groans and whimpers in his attempt to speak. Whatever the reason, Asterion is terrified beyond the point of words. The tiny blue flame in his eye betrays it. It sparks once, twice in its empty socket, before darting around the room, as though searching for refuge in the eyes of another. When the Minotaur shambles around to meet your gaze, his face goes cold and distant all at once. Eyes wide, eyebrows high, lips parted, and like a deer in the headlights of paralyzed by the specter of onrushing mortality. Yet, he cannot die. It is an absolute truth. The only certainty to which he can cling throughout all the trouble. His sentence and his imprisonment are inviolable. No matter how much time passes, or how many masters come and go, his days are fated to be as endless as the labyrinth in which he will spend them. Nor does he fear death. He knows and longs for what awaits on the other side, the fields of Asphodel, his friends, and his service to the Lord Hades as a guardsman. He cannot rationally fear death, any more now than he did when he offered his head to that Athenian man millennia ago, and was damned for meekness. Even so, mind and body are overcome. The Minotaur is swept away beneath the viscous undertow of trauma. His biology is master now. It demands he believe that he cannot die, that he will meet a swift and calamitous end before his crowd is of curious, well-meaning onlookers. He has no real agency. In it, as always. Greta's voice is the first to break through the chaotic murmur which has consumed the other guests. She at least is ready to take matters in hand without waiting for anyone else's approval. She prods on the bulls onward gingerly, as though a simple readjustment is all that needed for the gears of the Minotaur's head to mesh once more as they should. For a moment, Ishmael even rises to his feet to hover behind her, looking half ready to come to her defense if things should turn sour. But by his shifting eyes, it's plain to see that he really just wants to sneak away until the situation calms down. He too is held in place, as Asterion is by the eyes of his peers. "Are you okay?" The words fall on deaf ears, like a knot of steel wool against the dirty dish. Greta's attempt to reach out only seems to intensify the merciless grating against the inner surfaces of the Minotaur's skull. The past receives him. The memory replays again and again. The room spins like a reel on a film projector of Asterion's soul. Now he is the stone, the ripple that distorts the placid surface, making the scene swim as the past crashes upon the present. He drowns in the whirlpool of his thoughts, as if he's there again, on the most momentous night of the most recent century of his life. The players are all there, the master, a comely lady, and a faceless mob. Old thoughts resurface unbidden. It was a night like this when the devil was set loose in Master Clement. It had always been there, as though it had been lost in any soul. It had been in any lost soul. The hotel had hosted in those days. The purposelessness, the grief, and general agitation. He was even kind once, his faults made innocuous, even trivial by the backdrop of human suffering in which he lived. As the one-eyed man is king among the blind, so too was Clement among the shell-shocked, war-weary refugees and veterans of the First and Second World War. He wasn't all there, but he was functional enough that he didn't need to be. So long as his brother was around. Master Jean-Marie alone could stem the tide of Clement's paranoid delusionism and assuage the ego of the broken man. But Master Jean-Marie was dead, and it fell to the lunatic who took over the asylum. Perhaps Clement tried to, in his own way, to do as his brothers had done, to ease the pain of his fellow men and earn their respect. But each setback, each failure, was merely fertilizer for his madness to take root and strangle out all else. The love and admiration he sought were doomed, a venture as Icarus's flight. Blinded by hubris, consumed by envy, Clement fell and dragged as many as he could down with him. In his hands, the power of the hotel's master was but a meaning to impress, a cheap parlor trick at most, to catch the attention of beautiful women. That night, a girl like Greta rebuffed his advances. He had asked for before, and she let him down gently. He tried again, hoping in vain that his persistence would be rewarded. Then something snapped. An uneasy hush settled over the crowd. The laughter was snuffed out at once, like a candle between two fingers. The distance started to close between Clement and the young woman. The Minotaur interposed himself and took the blow, as he always had when physical altercation erupted. The ensuing tantrum saw them all accused of treason, excommunicated by virtue of blasphemy against the hotel's petty god, to face whatever suffering awaited them in the smoldering ruins of the European countryside. All for Asterion. Wait, all except for Asterion. Such is the curse, such is the constancy of Master's heart, to which he was always a subject. Outside of the Minotaur's head, things happened more quickly. Drawn by the ruckus, Luke and Kodo begin making their way to the crowd, seeking direction. One of them calls you boss, and the atmosphere shifts in an instant. As nobody is quite sure how best to deal with it, whatever has come over Asterion, all seem to agree that the current situation requires your intervention. By your virtue of office, you are not afforded the luxury of remaining as a bystander. All eyes are upon you. Something must be done. We will... Okay. Order Asterion to calm down. I don't think that helps anyone though, right? In the sudden silence, the conclusion is, I just want to take him to his room. In the sudden silence, the conclusion asserts itself. Asterion's hysteria visibly worsened. When he was met your eyes, your actions played a non-insignificant role, driving towards a current emotional state. Instead of revealing the power of the situation, that thought turns the expectant glare of the audience paralytic. Oh, I guess it's the wrong choice. Oh, shucks. I hate this. I thought it meant, like, give him space as in, like... Can I go back? That'd be cheating, isn't it? This is not what I meant. Fine, I guess we'll keep going. You find yourself unable to move or breathe, wanting nothing more to slip away or crawl into a hole, as Ismail seems so desperate to do. No matter how obvious it might be that someone needs to take charge, you of all people have no right to rush in and play the hero. I'm gonna go back after I'm done reading this. At the moment, you're not sure which is worse. The fact that the guests remain blissfully unaware of your involvement in the lead-up of the current situation, or the silent expectation that you can somehow unring the bell, set everything right. Seconds tick by, though each feels like a minute long. Asterion's distress call out the prayers of the gaudy speed resolution, alike go unanswered. As the tension continues to mount, you find yourself looking to the people around you, searching for a spark of guidance. Sometimes the most responsible thing a leader can do is to take his hands off and approach to someone more knowledgeable rather than going in blind, hoping for the best. You voice a thought. Does anyone have experience treating panic attacks? Whatever tenuous semblance of control that the office of the master granted you begins to evaporate. Your words cut momentarily silence like fraying rope, and then the dining room is once more abuzz as the guests resume bickering among themselves the best course of action. Amid the growing din, Asterion continues to spasm and spiral, flinching every so often in expectation of what will be struck. With each fresh wave of terror that rebounds over him, Your opinion of yourself continues to sink lower and lower, beneath the crushing weight of guilt. A figure begins making his way forward, walking to the center of the crowd, with a open palmed hand, raised in the air, calling for silence. Luke has an idea, and in true military fashion asks you for the explicit permission of his commanding officer before making his move. You've seen his attitude, and your stomach turns at the prospect of whatever he's got plans to deal with Asterian's anxiety. The crass, loudmouth griffin hasn't a snowball's chance in hell of calming the Minotaur down. In fact, he might just make things worse. A figment dances in your mind of Luke in a full cowboy regalia, 10-gallon hat, spurred boots and all, fastening a saddle around Asterian's back and riding him until he cries out. Even if you don't know what to do, you cannot allow Luke to. The griffin places a hand on your shoulder and looks into your eyes, crashing your train of thought without saying a single word. Despite your initial misgivings, you perceive a sharp, no-nonsense attitude about him that you've never seen before. He exudes an intense, icy focus that bespeaks the discipline and dignity of a military man who has weathered countless campaigns. One could expect him to interrupt with an ear-splitting screech or a keening squawk, as someone with American lungs and half-acclined vocal cords could. Wow. But here he stands, at the ready, waiting for your signal. You give the order, and are conscripted to Luke's volunteer army. Along with the Greta and Ismail, the other two nearest the center. Per his orders, you stand by, waiting for further instructions. The griffin takes a step forward, stopping you just short of arm's reach of Asterion. He enunciates a syllable, loud and clear. Asterion, what happened? The Minotaur's eyes refocus, and his chest heaves with the effort of forcing air in and out. Over the course of a minute, interspersed with coughing, he stammers. The valley. Please. Do you need space? You want to get some air? Recognition sparks in Asterian's eyes, but soon after, the bull's anxiety spikes anew. Whatever momentary clarity the griffin had brought out of is subsumed again by the tide of panic. Even so, Asterion manages to choke out a few more sentence fragments before he returns to incoherency. No. Don't. I can't. I'll be... Don't speak. Nod for yes. Shake your head for no. A few more quick questions round about the initial engagement. Luke asks if Asterion has had a panic attack before, if he has medicine for them, and a host of sane, sensible things that you only wish you'd thought of doing before passing the buck. Once he's sure the Minotaur is lucid enough to follow along, the griffin leads his wayward charge through some breathing exercises, cooing the supportive reassurance in the bull's ear every step of the way. Luke validates Asterion's feelings, mentioning everything so often that he won't leave, that they're safe, and the panic attacks seldom last more than half an hour. Experience has taught him that sooner or later the bull will even out. It's a matter of time. Before your eyes, almost imperceptibly, hell freezes over. Somehow, stunningly, Luke was the man for the job. Asterion's battle with his own psyche. After all After all, its explosive fury comes to a tenuous, whimpering end. A tide of fear ebbs away, revealing the soul of the man behind a bestial shell. Luke offers a hand, and the Minotaur grasps it with the simple, desperate gratitude of a drowning man who Providence had washed ashore. Though it felt much longer than to all involved, a quick glance at the clock confirms it was only about 20 minutes. The guests begin to disperse, seating themselves and resuming quiet conversation. As Luke puts Asterion's hands in yours, and he gives his first and last order before relinquishing his command. Walk the Minotaur back to his room for the night. Greta smiles, and Ishmael cannot help breathing an audible sigh of relief, only to catch swift elbow to the ribs for ruining what could have been a beautiful moment. As you depart, trudging into the darkness, with the Minotaur in tow, your ears catch a few guests, giving the griffin a hearty cheer for a job well done. Out of your peripheral vision, you notice Luke's solemn salute goodbye before his usual persona reasserts itself under the renewed festive atmosphere. Hades. The Ferryman. It was like the end of a summer day's rain back at the palace of Knossos. Rivulets falling to patio stone floor, droplets pouring from the trees down to saffron bushes. The pitter-patter of fat droplets of children's feet as the Minotaur sat by the tall red pillars, thinking, not making a noise. Thinking as his father told him, as he did now. He had walked a dozen steps downhill before he lost balance and fell to his knees. Now he sat, collecting himself. The Minotaur looked up to the stony ceiling hundreds of feet above him, raining down the same fat drops of water on his muzzle. His neck hurt, as if searing iron wire had burned it. His tongue and throat were locked frozen by a lump on his neck. Asterion thought and thought well as he plucked and then cradled an asphodel flower in his hands. Oh, I thought asphodel was his name. He was surrounded by them in a meadow overlooking a labyrinthine land of rivers. His body ached, but how soft the flower's petals are against one's hand. It's white and pink, where the slash of life in the darkened land. How long did they stay here in the asphodel field? He lost track of time, but he remembers the moment he rose, when he caught himself humming. A nameless, graceless tune coming deep within him. A cold drop fell on the palm of his hand, and the Minotaur was awoken from his trance. Prince Asterion, adopted son of King Minos of Crete, rose and looked down towards the rivers. And there he was, the man waiting by the shore. This time he stomped downhill, letting the slope guide him in leaps and bounds. He could not laugh, the lump in his throat made sure of that, but splayed on his muzzle was a smile. When the slope ended, he let momentum carry him into the shore of the skeletal man and the humble boat. Never before had Asterion seen such a sordid creature, his beard drier than hay and caked with foul filth, and went down to the muddy shore. His feet, half sunk in the mud, had overgrown yellowed nails that were more like fangs than what any human should have. Of course, a coarse cloak covered the upper half of his face, but as he shifted on his feet, Asterion Why am I yawning? Asterion. A coarse cloak covered the upper half of his face, but as he shifted on his feet, Asterion caught a glimpse of the old man's eyes. They burned. The man was hollow, like a furnace, and reeked of bitter smoke. Foul was the god on the river's shore. In common was it for nobles and highborn to shy away from him. Judging by Asterion's smile, however, one would guess he behold a holy envoy covered in fine garments and fragrant with the scent of flowers. Asterion's hooves sunk into the muddy soil of the river. As the old god's gaze crawled over the hybrid, sensing movement, half a dozen crab's head which hidden in the mud skittered away from the two of them. Charon. I forgot who he is. What a peculiar sight. Not a man, not a beast, much less an immortal. Neither a mournful youth nor a pacified elder. A smile, newly dead, one leaping down the hill like a nymph. Now, let me collect my payment. With his left hand, the foul-smelling elder old man, okay. The foul-smelling elder supported the Minotaur's neck and massaged his lump within it, a bony thumb. With his other hand, he reached into Asterion's mouth and plucked the obstruction from his throat, like a child would pluck a flower. It was a gold coin, so freshly minted in it, stone like an ember. You must have a good friend, young hybrid. This will do well. Now tell me, what is your lineage, hybrid son? Words flowed from his lips like honey. The Minotaur's heart pranced like a newborn foal, and his face regained some of its color. I am the son of Hearth and foamy sea, but my face is starry heavenly. My name is Asterion. Lord Charon, may I cross the river to my place of rest? The old man ran a slender finger over his matted beard as he looked the newly dead up and down. Very well. Come, shall we? Cross the rivers? It shall be a scenic ride for you. So much a bountiful payment. Ah, what a day. A newly dead beaming with life. Heavenly blood in the corpse of a beast. A cursed being, with gold to spare. Tell me, boy, why the joy? It is fair that the bud plucked before spring cursed hand, which left it to wither. Yet I see no vinegar, only honey and wine. Asterion sat on the boat, his back to the man. He looked ahead to the distant shore. The fire in his chest kept him warm. He did not bother responding to the old god's question. Bedrock. Okay, I will end it here, guys. Thank you. Maybe. Thank you all for listening / watching or reading along. That'd be nice too if you all read along, but maybe not, because I suck at reading, and maybe you guys need to read along with me. It's up to you. See you on the next video. Thank you.